hey, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was just here writing some cards, but more on that later. Finish up my coffee. And hi everyone, my name is Ava and I'm an American living in the Netherlands. And today I wanted to talk to you about some cute habits and cultural phenomena that I've seen in the Netherlands that I just had to share with you today, because in America, some of these things would definitely absolutely not fly, but here in the Netherlands, they are cute and expected of you, and I can't wait to tell you about them. Now let us start with the first thing, which is what people kind of expect when they come to the Netherlands, and that is biking. People have these images of Dutch people riding their bicycles around with windmills in the background, and that's absolutely the case, but that is not the cute habit that I wanted to talk about. So the thing is, when I moved to the Netherlands, I, first of all, could not bike, to the dismay of my Dutch girlfriend, now wife. I've gotten used to saying wife in the last couple of years that we've been married, but that took me weirdly long. Anyway, my Dutch partner and I met in the US, and when she met me there, she was just surprised that I couldn't ride a bicycle. I mean, she knew in theory that there were people out there who couldn't ride a bicycle, but she kind of didn't expect to be dating one of them. Oh well. So then she met me and we started dating, and I of course started learning how to bike. In the US, I sort of learned how to bike, but I couldn't really bike properly. Then I moved to the Netherlands and I kind of forced myself to learn how to bike as quickly as possible. I succeeded, sort of. Let me explain. So the thing is, how you bike in the Netherlands is not the same as how you would bike in America. Now there are many, many differences when it comes to how you could ride a bike in the Netherlands versus in America. And I'm not gonna go into all of them now. I'm just gonna talk about the one cute thing that Dutch people do, but I didn't think that was so cute when it was expected and required of me. So the thing is, when I started biking in the Netherlands, it was not a very elegant picture. I want you to imagine me on this Oma fiets that does not have any front brakes, and kind of like I'm wobbling around the city. It's not going great, you know? I'm bumping into things. I am a danger, mostly to myself, thankfully, not as much to other people. At least I was self-aware enough to not make that happen. But you know, I'm like wobbling. I'm on these bike lanes wobbling and just trying to bike. And on top of having to navigate a new city, and on top of having to navigate a new way of biking, and on top of just everything that was going on, something I discovered that my Dutch partner wanted me to do was bike next to her. Listen, the bike lanes in the Netherlands are terrific, but there are very many people biking on those bike lanes. Now, especially when I got started biking, I really wanted to bike behind my Dutch partner because I was like, you are gonna be fine. I just want to feel protected behind you. And I also don't know where I'm going. Like, I'm terrible at directions. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, form a nice line, a file, and then just bike that way. But my Dutch wife did not think that was cool. She was like, this is so ongezellig. You need to bike next to me. And that's when I realized Dutch people do this thing like a flock of birds where they will all bike together in sync, just biking. It doesn't matter where they are. They could be in the middle of the road with like cars, you know, going past them, and you will still see Dutch people like biking together because they do not want to be ongezellig. They're chatting, they're biking slower. And I think that's also a hurdle to people trying to bike and get past them. But that is so culturally expected and culturally common that people do it anyway. And this is so funny because I've nearly gotten into very many arguments with my Dutch wife over this, like back in the day. Now this is not a problem. Back then, it kind of was for me because I had to keep up with the pace, and also just, you know, you have to keep like moving from one side to the other. So to make way for people passing you, because these bike lanes are not wide enough to necessarily accommodate all of you if you're not making way for people coming through. And my Dutch partner was like aware of all of this. So she was like, you know, just bike behind me, that's fine. But we almost got into very many arguments because by the end of that trip, wherever we were going, if it was like 15 minutes or so, we would arrive at our destination and then she would be visibly upset. And I would be like, oh my God, babe, what's wrong? And then she would say, I just feel like you don't like me because you were biking behind me the whole time. And I felt ignored and as if you didn't want to be with me. Folks, let me tell you, after a couple of times, I was like, okay, I need to get myself together and make this happen because I did not want my Dutchie thinking that I did not like her. You would think moving to the Netherlands for her was enough, but no, if you are dating a Dutch person, true love is biking next to them on the bike lane. Take note. Now, the next thing I wanted to share with you is just, it's so cute. It's adorable. It's one of the things I love about Dutch people. It's so endearing, and it's a small thing that says a lot. And that is that Dutch people love sending cards. Now, when I had just moved to the Netherlands and it was my birthday, I came back to the apartment to find a full mailbox. And as an American, my first thought obviously was, oh my God, those credit card companies have found me in the Netherlands. They are giving me this not so free money that they're pretending is free. And now I'm gonna have to just throw all of that in the trash. What a waste of paper. But oh no, instead, I got mail from actual people. Actual people living in the Netherlands sent me birthday cards. And okay, I know some of you watching this are thinking, oh my God, Americans must be so cold for not doing that. That's not the case. In America, we send each other nice birthday wishes and messages. Like, it's all very quick because we're all on the go. It's busy. And it's not even that. It just seems very 21st century to just send a message, or like back in the day, we would write stuff on each other's Facebooks and make a whole little posts and, something cutesy like that. So it's not that Americans don't show affection and wish you on your birthdays. Absolutely not the case. But here in the Netherlands, they actually sit down and write you a card. And it's not just birthdays. I mean, did you see the size of my card box? Like, I said my card box, but it's my wife's card box. Like, now that I live in the Netherlands with a Dutchie, we just have a stack of cards in our house at all times, because Dutch people don't just send cards for birthdays. Oh no, they send cards for basically any occasion, or even non-occasion. It doesn't matter. They just love sending cards to show you that they're thinking about you and that you are important to them. So like, let's say you got a new job. They're gonna send you a card saying, congratulations on your new job. And you leave your other job and people are gonna give you cards for leaving that job and like wishing you good luck. Then when you are at your new job, they're gonna send you a card saying, hope all is well. Like, Dutch people will just send you lots and lots of cards, and I think that is so cute. Okay, now this next one really stood out to me after some time because I kept seeing it happening when I moved here. It didn't stand out to me in the beginning, but now it does. And when I tell you this, I think you're also gonna notice it everywhere. So Dutch people have the need to say when they're having a good time or when something is gezellig as it is happening. So for Dutch people, it's not enough to have something be gezellig. You have to exclaim that it is gezellig in that moment. And it can be a lot of gezelligheid and a lot of saying that things are gezellig. So let's say that you're gonna meet up for dinner with a friend, right? So while you're making plans, you'll be like, oh, would you like to get dinner? Then the person would respond and say, gezellig. Yes, let's do that. And then as the date approaches, you'll message each other, to finalize your plans. And then you might say, tot morgen, gezellig. So then you've already said things are gezellig quite a bit, okay? But this is all in the future, right? And then you actually go to the place, and while you are at the event, while you are with each other, having this dinner, you need to mention during this dinner that something is gezellig at some point. Otherwise, like, why are you even there? And it's not gezellig if you don't say that it's gezellig. So you catch my drift? So while you are there, you have to make a comment that something is gezellig. So let's say like the cafe or the restaurant you're at for this dinner is nice. So then you would say, oh, this is gezellig. Or you're having a conversation. At some point, you need to smile and be like, oh, this is gezellig. Like at some point, someone needs to say that it's gezellig, okay? And then when you're done, you need to, before you go home, you need to make sure that you say that it was gezellig and let's do it again. Otherwise, people will not believe you. It's not implicit, you have to make it explicit. This is very Dutch. So in America, you really don't do this. I mean, not to this extent anyway, and also not in this way. The only situation in which I can think that it's actually very common to say I had a nice time is after a date. But if you are hanging out with your friend who, you like and you enjoy spending time with, like these things are already, implicit, they're given. That's why you're friends. So then if you go for dinner and you tell them, so this is nice. They're gonna be like, I mean, what else did you expect? Did you expect it to not be nice? Like, why did you come then if that was the case? Because you see, it's very different from when you meet with strangers and when you meet with friends. And you know, if you still don't get this, like think about it. If I went to my boss at the end of a day and was like, "Oh, boss, I got some work done today." She's gonna look at me and be like, "I mean, duh, that's what I pay you for. You need to get work done every day. I hope." Like, what is this comment? So this is how things are interpreted in America, but here in the Netherlands, it's just very common to say that. It's very cute, a very nice habit that I actually enjoy because it makes the implicit explicit and you don't take anything for granted. Now, the next cute habit has to do with when you go to a Dutch cafe or restaurant and you order a warm drink. First of all, how cozy and gezellig is this? Like in the Netherlands, the cafes are especially cute. You know, Dutch people are all about their gezelligheid. And then when it's cold, rainy, gray outside and you're sitting at a cafe with a drink, it's just such a great, warm, cozy, fuzzy feeling. And Dutch people have found a little trick to make all of this even cuter. And that is, if you order a warm drink, you will most likely get a little treat next to your cup. So this could be a really small cookie, like the tiniest cookie you've ever seen. Like they probably only make them in the Netherlands for this purpose because in America, we would not eat a cookie this size. But here in the Netherlands, they have them and they put it next to your cup of coffee or tea. Sometimes you'll even get like, again, the world's tiniest piece of cake or treat, and that will go next to your warm drink. And it's really very common. So it almost stands out if you don't get this little treat with your drink. And people love it. It's just so cute. Like I almost, instead of serving a tray of cookies when people come over to my house and I give them coffee, I almost want to do that too. I want to get a saucer for them and put a little cookie there. Also, like this is something that would be so easy to bring to America. I think people would love it, but then you would need to have a full-size stroopwafel instead of, you know, a tiny cookie, because that's just America for you. People are gonna look at that tiny cookie in the US and be like, what is this? They'll probably give it to their dog or something. Okay, so now the first few times that I went to a Dutch cafe, I probably wasn't paying attention to anything happening around me because I was with my Dutch partner and we had just started dating. So it was all the beginning of our relationship and I wasn't really paying attention to anything around me. So when that phase had passed and I was like properly in the Netherlands, I had just moved here. So not when I was just visiting earlier the years prior. And I moved here and I went to a cafe by myself. I noticed that Dutch people do this thing that I'm pretty sure Americans don't do. Pretty sure. I know Americans don't do. If you did that in the US, which I did, people looked at me like I had 10 heads. It was very strange. But here in the Netherlands, if you leave and walk out of a cafe or a restaurant, all of a sudden, everyone working there will turn around and be like, goodbye. And the first time that happened, I was like flooded and overwhelmed by all of these goodbyes. Like literally the wait staff over there was like, tot ziens. Another one over there is like, doei. And then someone else was like, fijne dag. And I just like awkwardly walked out and waved like I was royalty, like, goodbye. And I just walked out of the store thinking, what just happened? But this is very common. After some time, I got used to it. And now I am so used to it that I did this when I was in the US. And that was pretty funny and awkward. I need to now remember not to do that because it has become so second nature. Like I leave a restaurant or a cafe and I'm like turning my head to like, oh, where is someone? So I say goodbye because I can't just leave without doing that. I think this gives a nice personal touch without too much effort because this shows that, you know, when you come in somewhere, people take notice of your presence, and then when you leave, they say goodbye because you're leaving. Like it's very nice and personal. It's what you would do to a friend in your house or a guest in your house, and you're basically doing that when you go outside. How nice is that? Now, remember a couple of points ago when I said Dutch people will send you a card for like any kind of occasion or non-occasion? Well, they also like to celebrate any kind of occasion or non-occasion. Like here in the Netherlands, if you walk past these cute Dutch houses that will just have no curtains or their curtains wide open for you to peek into, like I still love peering. I'm walking around those streets like every day, taking a look. I have no shame. Even after years of living here, it's like, I have no shame. I love just peeking into houses. It's a pastime. But that said, what you will also notice, and you don't have to look very hard to notice, is that Dutch people love having stickers and banners for all kinds of things. So birth of a child, birthday, graduation, they have the backpacks hanging out. It's such a cute little Dutch custom. And this is of course great, but I was surprised to the degree that Dutch people like deck out their houses. Their houses are just supremely decorated for these occasions. Like one time I walked past a house and I thought like there was a carnival going on in their front yard. But no, it was, a child was born and they had, I kid you not, this full-size blowout doll and then a huge banner that said, "Welcome, it's a girl," and balloons outside. Like I really thought it was a freaking carnival. Like I thought it was a birthday party, not just a birth announcement. Like that's how decked out this house was. And it's not that uncommon. Also here in the Netherlands, when people turn 50, that's a big thing. And then they also have like full blowout dolls in the backyard and like these, like they see Sarah if they're a woman. And I think if they're a dude, they see some other guy. Abraham. I think it's Abraham. But anyway, they're gonna be dolls, like blow up dolls. Why is this a thing in the Netherlands? Like I've seen way too many blow up dolls in people's yards. Like when did this custom start? I think I like it, but I don't know if I personally would ever have a blown up doll in front of my house or like my backyard. That just seems like too Dutch. I don't know if I'll ever be Dutch enough to do that. But anyway, I just think it's amazing how Dutch people like to like decorate and go all out for these occasions. And now even like the festivals in the US where you tend to have such decorations like Halloween, people here have started doing that too. Like Halloween, Christmas I think was always a thing in both cultures. But Halloween too, like here people go wild. So they like let loose for Halloween these days. It's like every year I feel like I'm seeing more and more interesting and creative decorations. In America, besides Halloween and Christmas, like when it comes to decorating your house for an occasion on the outside, you don't typically do that for birthdays and stuff. Like people are private about that. But you do that to celebrate America. When you're celebrating America, like 4th of July, you deck out your house. I think Americans need to celebrate themselves more too, like not just their country. Celebrate yourselves and take pride in who you are. Sometimes I say the lamest things, but I'm just gonna leave that in there. Enjoy. Okay, and finally, the ultimate Dutch thing that is inevitable, unavoidable when you move to the Netherlands. The party circle. If you go to any party here in the Netherlands, you will find that Dutch people like to organize themselves in a circle. It's always quite a pretty good circle. Dutch people just love the circle arrangement. They feel like it has this cosmic significance. No, they don't. They just like standing in a circle because it's practical. They can see everyone and they can talk to people next to them. They can talk to people across from them. And that is hilarious because at some point your circle gets pretty big and then you'll have people shouting from one end of the circle to the other and then trying to have a conversation that way. And at that point, some bold hero has to like take the step to say, we're not going to stand in a circle anymore. Like no one exclaims that, but then if you break the circle, that's a moment in the party. Ooh, you're going to stand in smaller circles. Like then the party's really started. But in this initial beginning stage, or maybe towards the end of the party when you're just talking, you will form a circle. It's really interesting. But here's what's cute about it, okay? It's fine that Dutch people do this. We don't necessarily do it in America. Like, again, to the rigidness that Dutch people do it. They're like, party equals circle. Like, that's their thing. But here in the Netherlands, I think the reason they do that is because they don't want people to feel excluded. So they just try to have this huge circle because everyone's welcome and they want everyone to feel included in the conversation. So it comes from a really good place and it's super cute that people thought about this, and that's why you always end up with the circle. It's to make everyone feel welcome, and that's especially really nice at a party. So those are some of my personal favorite cute Dutch habits or cultural things here in the Netherlands. If you have any favorites that I left out, please let me know in the comments down below. And as usual, tot ziens, until next time, doei. Because is it even a real Dutch goodbye if you didn't say it at least 3 times?